everybody. Today is Thursday, November the 30th, and you're watching FCN Prime News. I'm Trezane, your anchor for tonight. Here at FCN Prime News, we are bringing you your news, current events, politics, business, sports, and pop culture from a perspective that matters to you. As always, we're simulcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Periscope. So hello to everybody who's watching, no matter where you may be watching at this time. We appreciate you guys tuning in twice a week to watch FCN Prime News. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is the best way to always be in the know when we go live with new content. We've got something up our sleeves for this holiday season, and you do not want to miss out on this programming. If you head to YouTube and type in the Fifth Column Network, you will find us. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. All right, on to our top news story for this Thursday. Matt Lauer, Lord have mercy. We woke up yesterday morning to the news that after a single detailed formal complaint of sexual misconduct, NBC gave its golden boy Matt Lauer, a newscaster of 20 years with the network, the swift boot from its network and the Today Show. Matt Lauer broke his silence today in a statement read on the Today Show, saying he was, quote, truly sorry, unquote, and that not all the allegations that I follow are correct, but he admitted that there is enough truth to these stories to make him feel embarrassed and ashamed. Y'all. In case you haven't heard some of these details being reported, here's some of the stories that folks are sharing since he's been fired. 1. As the co-host of NBC's Today, Matt Lauer once gave a colleague a sex toy as a gift and included an explicit note on how he wanted to use it on her. On another day, he summoned a different female employee to his office, dropped his pants, showed her his penis, and after she declined to do anything, visibly shaken, he reprimanded her for not engaging in a sexual act. 3, he would sometimes quiz female producers about who they'd slept with, offering to trade names. And he loved to engage in a crass quiz game with men and women in the office called F, Marry, or Kill, in which he would identify the female co-host that he'd most likely to sleep with. And despite being married, Lauer was fixated on women, especially their bodies and their looks. According to more than 10 accounts from current and former employees, he was known for making lewd comments verbally and in text messages. He once even made a suggestive reference to a colleague's performance in bed and compared it to how she was able to complete her job. His office was also, this is the worst part, His office was in a secluded space, and he had an emergency button underneath his desk that allowed him to lock the doors to his office from the inside without having to get up, which afforded him the assurance of privacy, allowing him to welcome in his prey and initiate inappropriate contact while knowing that no one can walk in on him once he hit that button. Lastly, according to producers, Lauer, who had considerable editorial clout over which stories would ultimately air on Today, he would frequently dismiss stories about cheating husbands. However, in the wake of Roger Ailes and Harvey Weinstein, Lauer had to keep up with the conversation about sexual harassment, and it often made for awkward moments on TV for staff members who knew about Lauer's private interactions. And lastly, we all know he played a hand in the terminations of Ann Curry and Tamron Hall. With that said, the best social media reactions were the posts made in vindication for Tamron Hall and Ann Curry. Listen, the FCN Business and Talent Development team have been having critical discussions about this issue, and I have been authorized by FCN management to say this live on air. We at FCN would like to offer Ann Curry and Tamron Hall the salary of $1 to join the FCN News Desk. We don't tolerate sexual misconduct, and women are given equal opportunity to thrive in a working environment. We will bend over, that's probably not a good thing to say. We'll make sure you have everything you need to be great, okay? Give us a call. Speaking of sexual predators, here are your updates from the White House for this week. Number 1, subpoenas are being sent to 23 Trump businesses, requiring them to preserve records that may be sought by the attorney generals from the District of Columbia and Maryland in a lawsuit accusing the president of profiting from his office. 2, Donald Trump Jr. will be interviewed by the House Intelligence Panel on December the 6th. The U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson could soon be replaced by CIA Director Mike Pompeo. The New York Times and the Associated Press reported Thursday. He's told people that he expects Trump to choose him as the next Secretary of State, and he would accept the job if offered. In October, Sebastian Gorka, former advisor to the president, said that Pompeo is fully on board and he's very loyal to the president. We know that is keywords if you want to work with Donald Trump. 4, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, met earlier this month with special counsel Robert Mueller's team as part of the investigation into Russia's meddling in the election. Mueller's team specifically asked him about the former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who is under investigation by special counsel as well. He is the White House senior advisor, and he is of special interest as part of its probe into Russian meddling, including potential obstruction of justice in Comey's firing. In the city of Baltimore, a police detective was shot in the head with his own gun at close range and died with his radio still clutched in his left hand, according to the city's top law enforcement official. Detective Sean Suter's death came a day before he was set to testify before a grand jury in an ongoing federal investigation of police corruption and drug shakedowns by an elite gun recovery unit. Police Commissioner Kevin Davis said he was assured by prosecutors and the FBI that Suter, who was an 18-year veteran of the force, was not a target of the investigation that has led to the indictment of 8 current officers. They're saying there's really no link to his testifying and his death. And you know, here, we're going to give that a major side eye. In Lake County, Indiana, however, prosecutors have filed charges against a high school teacher after students secretly filmed her snorting white powder in between classes. Prosecutors have charged Samantha Cox, age 24, of Cedar Lake, Indiana, with possession of cocaine and possession of paraphernalia. Students saw Cox through a door window, sitting in an empty classroom and behaving strangely, and the students quickly recorded the incident. After watching the video multiple times, the students realized Cox was literally making her lines of coke on a textbook and snorting them. They quickly uploaded the video to YouTube and alerted school administration. The video has had more than 500,000 views. When police arrived at the school, they found paraphernalia in the teacher's desk and her car. Cox told police that she's been using drugs since her freshman year of college and had purchased $160 worth of dope cocaine that morning, adding that she normally purchased drugs after school, but she was feeling sick that day. I bet. In other news, in Atlanta, an Asian woman has been racially profiled, and it caused her to miss out on her entire Thanksgiving dinner with her family. Stephanie Ung, age 26, told local media outlets that she and a friend had just returned from a trip to Cancun, Mexico, when they were stopped by Customs and Border Protection at the Atlanta airport and questioned for over an hour. Ung was never told why she was being questioned, but she wholeheartedly believes that she and her friend were racially profiled and subsequently suspected as being victims of a trafficking operation. Ung wasn't entirely wrong in her assumption either. Delta Airlines claims the incident had nothing to do with her ethnicity or her dress or how she looked. In a statement released by the airline, Delta claims that another passenger alerted the crew to a passport issue concerning the 2 women, which led them to believe that a human trafficking event might be taking place. Ung says she was in complete possession of her own passport throughout the entire flight and feels the Delta and the unknown passenger who alerted the crew should, quote, mind their own business. How much y'all want to bet that that other passenger was a nosy white woman manufacturing all of this? With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more stories for you guys to enjoy. back to FCN Prime News. It's been 8 weeks since Hurricane Maria caused massive damage to Puerto Rico, and the U.S. territory is yet and still without power. More than half of Puerto Rico's power grid remains offline. Efforts to restore electricity provision to the Puerto Rican population were not helped by a major power line failure that happened last week, which reduced capacity to a mere 18%. According to the latest official figures, capacity is now up to almost 48% after the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority fixed it. This is the largest blackout in United States history. In South Africa, a court has denied a gay couple the right to adopt, but quite surprisingly, it was for a really good reason. It's not in the best interest, the court said, to have one openly gay parent and then another one be closeted, who live apart. The two prospective adoptive men have been together for 10 years and wanted to have a child with a surrogate mother. The men were before a judge because in South Africa, surrogacy agreements have to be approved by a court before adoption rights are granted. While the two men have been partners for a decade, one of the prospective fathers is not out of the closet. The two men who live separately do hide their relationship and were only identified in court records as by their initials CJD and HN. Judge Ronelle Tolme declined the agreement, saying the closeted relationship could harm the child's psychological well-being. She said, "I can see a little toddler excitedly running towards her father in public, shouting, 'Daddy.' Would the father pretend not to be the parent? How will this impact the child?" she said in her decision. She further commented, quote, "No one can judge a gay person who, because of persisting public prejudice, is reluctant to reveal his sexual orientation. However, the court must always place the rights of the child first." This judge is known for her progressive decisions and regularly championed LGBTQ causes as a lawyer before ascending to the bench. Back on the topic of sexual harassment, 92-year-old Angela Lansbury recently made a statement in an interview that, quote, "Women must sometimes take blame for sexual harassment," unquote. She said, "We have to own up to the fact that women, since time immemorial, have gone out of their way to make themselves attractive," she said. "And unfortunately, it has backfired on us. And this is where we are today." She commented further that we must sometimes take blame, women. "I really do think that," she added. "Although it's awful to say, we can't make ourselves look as attractive as possible without being knocked down and raped," unquote. Olympic gymnast Gabby Douglas made a similar statement addressing sexual abuse on Twitter, suggesting that women should dress modestly as to not entice the wrong crowd. Twitter tried to drag and cancel Angela Lansbury after this statement, but trusts that her statements aren't messing with her checks from reruns of Murder, She Wrote. She's darn near 100 years old, and so is her audience. They'll most likely agree with her. But with regard to Gabby, Twitter was in the midst of gearing up to drag her until she shared her story of being sexually abused by a former USA gymnastics team doctor, and then suddenly, her comment had context. And before we go to another quick break, a quick public service announcement. Firefighters are reminding everybody that it can be dangerous to plug your space heater into power strips. A fire department in Oregon has posted the now viral photo that shows the aftermath of a space heater plugged into a power strip. The fire department stated this in a statement: "The weather is getting colder and people are pulling out those space heaters. We just want you all to be reminded that you should never plug a heater into the power strip." They go further to explain why. "These units are not designed to handle the high current flow needed for a space heater and can overheat or even catch fire due to the added energy flow. Please share and stay safe this winter season." And for all the folks out there trying to keep their light bills down, take heed. Do not risk don't risk all your stuff in your house trying to keep your energy bill down. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll have some positive stories to bring a little light and joy to your day.
When I mix a record, I want to make sure that everything is sonically pleasing to the ear and everything has its own space. I know it looks easy, but this is years and years of hard work.
And I love my old lady love me. She be driving me crazy, no place that I'd rather be. She's a beast in the kitchen, she fix breakfast in bed, and there's no competition. She's the best with the head. She keeps
Scooch,
swizz off.
yeah. Sticks, we got one.
Straight up. Talk to him, Gucci.
I ain't thinking about these bitches, but they thinking of me. Richest nigga out the hood, and they know I'm a G. Every king need a queen, so I got me a queen. We one hell of a team. I'm the man of the dreams.
Most people will only respect what you do when they try to do what you do and fail at it.
Welcome back to FCN Prime News. So happy to tell you about this story. Two brothers aged 15 and 19 are the youngest people to produce a short film for Sesame Street. Shout out to these brothers, Justin and Julian Turner, for making history. Y'all know Sesame Street, Big Bird and his friends. Well, in its 49th season, the show has selected these two brothers to write a script. You may be familiar with Julian Turner because earlier this month he covered Lil Uzi Vert's XO Tour Life. Did I say that right? I don't know. He rapped about biology, and shortly after the video went viral, the remake named XY Cell Life has been viewed almost 1 million times and has even been shared by John Legend in Common. Just a few weeks ago, Turner made an appearance on Total Request Live to talk about merging education and music. Congratulations to these brothers. We look forward to seeing the work that you produce with Sesame Street. The person who deactivated Trump's Twitter account for an entire 11 minutes has been identified. Let me introduce you to this Twitter hero. He is 26-year-old. I can't pronounce your name. I'm going to botch it. It's Baytayart Dusak. Originally from Germany, he has a master's in banking and finance from the University of Birmingham in England, and recently finished a postgraduate program at California State University East Bay in Hayward, California. He was head of the university's Turkish Student Association. A Facebook page for the young man said that he was a member of the school startup scene, and another post showed him as a volunteer security guard at a Bay Area Muslim community center. He also served as a research assistant at Cal State East Bay, where he was enrolled in a management school program with many exchange students who wanted to come to the U.S. and improve their English before heading out into the workforce. An August update to his Facebook page, to the Facebook page of the Religious Center, features photos of this gentleman helping to deliver bikes and school supplies to the underprivileged and refugee children in the community. He definitely sounds like a not all heroes wear capes situation. Thank you so much, sir, for serving your country for those 11 minutes. The Recording Academy's 2018 nominations revealed that Black and Latino talent have a better shot at winning at some of the major categories. Black and Latino musicians dominated in the top 4 categories, including Album and Song of the Year, giving those acts who perform rap, R&B, and Latin music a strong chance of taking home the biggest awards, usually reserved for pop, rock, and country musicians, or if you just want to be real about white people. Behind Jay-Z, who scored 8 nominations, Kendrick Lamar scored 7 nominations, while Bruno Mars earned 6. Those who scored 5 nominations were Black acts, including Childish Gambino, is it SZA, even though there's only one vowel? Okay, Khalid, and No ID. The 2018 Grammy Awards take place in New York City on January 28, 2018. Speaking of first, A 22-year-old woman from Minnesota is a trailblazer after she became the first person with Down syndrome to compete in a Miss USA state pageant. I know, right? Michaela Holmgren received the Spirit Award and the Director's Award this past Sunday night in the Miss Minnesota USA pageant. The audience gave her a standing ovation as she accepted both awards. The Twin Cities Pioneer Press reports the nomination letter for the Spirit Award says that she is humble, puts others first, and has the ability to overcome obstacles with a smile and excitement in her heart. Congratulations to Ms. Holmgren for making way for many others with disabilities who may not have been able to see themselves to compete in a beauty pageant as a result of it. In Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that his government will offer a formal apology for its past discrimination against LGBTQ citizens. Trudeau will apologize, quote, for the persecution and injustices that LGBTQ people have suffered, unquote, at the House of Commons next week, according to a tweet from him and an invitation to the event obtained by Canadian news outlets. The address is expected to be the most comprehensive ever offered by any national government for past persecution of sexual minorities. Trudeau's address will likely focus largely on Canada's past treatment of LGBTQ service members and other government employees. From the 1950s until 1992, many of those the government suspected of being gay were interrogated. They were put through humiliating tests to expose their sexual orientation, and they were expelled from their Canadian government positions. This is a huge thing for the LGBT community in Canada, and so we're very grateful for Justin Trudeau for making that move. All right, so that wraps up the news portion of FCN Prime News. We're going to kick it over to J-Co Is It for the top sports stories for today. You ready to go, J-Co? Ready. All right, take it away.
Welcome to Prime Sports. I am, as Tresnay said, J-Co. Follow me at J-Co Is It on several social media platforms. Not all of them, though, but several, such as Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to break from my normal format tonight. I actually only have one sports story, but I'm going to break it down a little bit for you guys today because if you've watched any of my past Prime Sports, you'll know this is a little topic that I'm interested in. So, according to Sports Illustrated, the NFL and the NFL Players Coalition, which is a group of about 40 current active NFL players, have come to an agreement in principle for the NFL to donate $89 million to social injustice causes. Now, some of those funds are supposedly going to go to criminal justice reform, law enforcement, community relations, and education, which I believe is a huge step because that's the place where we need it most. That's where you can relate to the actual reason behind the protests. Why are we kneeling? Because law enforcement, criminal justice system unfairly kills, punishes, arrests black people. Okay, I've made that statement many times, and I've said that some of these protests and some of the counter protests have taken our eyes off of that. This is kind of bringing the focus back onto it, why Colin originally took a knee. As you can see, that $89 million Sports Illustrated reported. I know a lot of other outlets did, but I think Sports Illustrated broke the story. Now, this is the largest commitment the NFL has ever made to a public cause. I'll go over that more in a minute. Now, some players do not agree with this. There have been several players to actually remove themselves from the coalition. Eric Reed, who is a player on San Francisco, tweeted, as well as Michael Thomas, "With much thought and consideration, I've decided to officially withdraw my involvement in the Players Coalition, founded by Malcolm Jenkins and Anquan Bolden. The Players Coalition was supposed to be formed as a group that represents NFL athletes who have been silently protesting social injustice and racism. However, Malcolm and Anquan can no longer speak on our behalf, as we don't believe the coalition's beliefs are in our best interests as a whole. We will continue to have dialogue with the league to find equitable solutions, but without Malcolm and Anquan as our representatives. Michael Thomas, also wide receiver for the Saints, also tweeted that exact statement. Russell Okung, offensive tackle for the Chargers, retweeted and agreed with that sentiment. That's another member of that coalition. So all of the coalition is not in agreement on this supposed agreement that they've come to with the NFL. I do understand there's definitely a few different sides to this. There was actually a tweet. I tried to get a response from this young man, but as of Showtime, he had not responded. But he said, I got into an argument about the $100 million the NFL is donating so that the player stands. How does that change what the ones who started it are actually protesting? So, and I do feel like in ways that is a valid point, but I think that there is going to be a lot of positives to come out of this, and I will go over that in just a moment. I don't know all the details of the report. One of the things that is important to note that as of now, in the language, they, as a condition of this money, they will not be asking the players to stop their protests. Will it be implied? Will it be something they suggest? Maybe, probably. But as of now, there is no language that said this money is conditional on players to stop protesting. Breitbart, of course, had a little bit of a different perspective. They say unconditional surrender. NFL gives players $89 million for, quote, social justice spending with no condition that anthem protests will end. So it's always funny that on this particular issue, both sides, no matter what the NFL does, both sides find a problem with it. Now, I actually think it's a good thing, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, regardless of what will actually happen, as of right now, it means the NFL is placing more value, at least in perception, on black players and black dollars than they are on white dollars. Because as we know right now, on both sides of the protest, black dollars are going out because they're saying you guys are punishing people and you're not hiring Colin Kaepernick because he's been protesting. On the white side, they're saying there's too much disrespect. You're letting all this disrespect to the anthem, to our flag, blah, blah, blah. This move alienates the white who are saying that the NFL is letting too much happen. I feel like that is a positive step in the right direction. And as Breitbart shows, this is how the white people have already started to react. Now, I do have someone who tweeted an agreement with me. Sorry about that. It's Vince Quinn. This move makes sense with NFL protesting. The narrative change for anthem protesting, which I've mentioned before, not the NFL or the players' fault, but the message was dulled on the field, became about the anthem itself. Settle it. Use money for good. Fight police brutality on personal time. Best for everyone. And I agree with this sentiment. This money can be used for positive things. Is it going to make drastic changes in the community? Maybe not. Probably not, but it's a start. Does the NFL have any responsibility whatsoever to do anything about this? Actually, no, they don't. But they have heard what their players, what the vast majority of the people who are in their organization are saying. They took some time to listen. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, this is a PR move, blah, blah, blah. Well, it probably is, at least impartial, but I am choosing to take the positive look on this. According to ESPN, as I stated, the package is going to surpass Salute to Service, Crucial Catch, NFL Play 60, breast cancer. This is the largest amount that they have ever pledged to anyone. That's significant. It means something. I do have one more thing to discuss about Reed and the other players coalition. According to Deadspin, Reed is worried that the NFL is trying to co-opt the players' nascent social justice movement. And counter to what Trotter reported on Wednesday, the sources say the 49ers player was specifically asked if he would stop protesting if the league made donations to charity. Eric received a message. The comment was, would you be willing to end the protest if they make a donation? Doesn't say who asked him that. Of course, he said no, he's not going to stop his protest. Are they co-opting? I don't believe they are. I believe that they are making a move saying, you guys have said we don't care about this issue. You have said we don't care about you. Owners have proven that by calling them inmates. This is a move in the right direction for the NFL. For once, I feel like they got it right. Now, that has been Prime Sports. We are going to cut to commercial. When we come back, Revolution with pop culture.
Let's watch. Go. Go.
Thank you. Be safe.
Okay. Okay.
So when they needed us,
Ooh.
we could fight the battles
that they never could.
Oh. That's presumptuous. What?
you'll know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right.
Ooh.
To fail always.
Spider senses tingling. Them tingles, baby. Oh, it's a Stargate.
Run from it. The destiny still
Oh shit, Loki's a traitor still. Thanos. Spider-Man in an ugly ass suit. Oh shit. Ah, psych your mind. Bearded Cap is back, baby. Oh, aliens.
something one considers for balancing the universe. But this does put a smile on my face.
What? Oh! Nigga, you can't do nothing with that gun. Oh, they in Wakanda. Oh! No! Oh! No! No! We the Guardians of the Galaxy, bitch! What's that?
We're good. Keep going.
Okay, what's the problem?
No, it's on. Sound is on. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we had a video that broke some records of our own, and now,
Yeah.
shut up. I didn't do something, so let me do something over here. Just shut up. Just please shut up. Anyway, the Infinity War trailer has broken a YouTube record this morning. Yeah, it has officially broken the record of the most views in a 24-hour period, surpassing this year's record holder of It, this summer's blockbuster with 197 million views. The Infinity War trailer racked up 230 million views on YouTube. Disney is on a roll right now because this is coming off the heels of another trailer for them, which is Incredibles 2. It was a huge trailer. I don't actually have the numbers for that, but it was a record-breaking event. It was actually the most views for an animated trailer just days ago. And if anyone out there is wondering, this is an all-time top 20 views of all time. Disney has 13 spots, 6 of which are Marvel films, including Infinity War, Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and now the Infinity War, which debuts May 4th this summer 2018. My next story is a very short story because I told we had breaking news, so that's got kind of thrown off here. I apologize for that. Real quick, Finn from Star Wars reportedly has told, what's his name, actor John Boyega, has given us a clue what his first words will be after he comes out of a coma. I believe the words here, let me see here. It says, "I'm not going to be a Jedi." I'm just jerking your lightsaber. His first words is actually Rey, and that panicked John Boyega delivery that he does in every frame of this franchise. So he wakes up with a white woman, Mary Sue, on his mind. Ladies and gentlemen, I am The Revolution. This has been Pop Culture. Going back to Tresnay with breaking news.
Hey guys, so if you're paying attention to news at all, there have been multiple news outlets that have been talking about the possibility of a volcanic super eruption that could have the potential to wipe out civilization. And they keep citing Mount Agung, please don't judge me, okay? In Bali, Indonesia, that could have a potential to erupt. Breaking news is that this mount is set to blow within hours with 150,000 tourists trapped. Villagers have been told that they will not be able to outrun when this big one hits, and it is expected at any time to blow. Here's the part that really got me is that this eruption could cause a global drop in temperatures if it erupts. We will have more on this story for sure on FCN Prime News as it develops. If you have family or anything in Indonesia, as we do target that demographic, I hope that your family is indeed safe. Prayers for those who are trapped and who are native to that land. With that, we're going to close out FCN Prime News. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Tresnay, and this has been FCN Prime News.